Hey friends, Mr. Warden here. It is, as you can see, a beautiful day here in this neighborhood. We're going to do four builds in this video, and they all have to do with a very important tool in the workshop, my car. This is my 2013 Nissan Altima, and it is a very important tool. We have to think about it like a tool, because it facilitates us being able to do lots of different things. That's what a tool does. We're going to do four builds. There is a rip in the driver's seat that we have to sew back together, so we're going to do some stitching. There is a torn piece of fabric in the rear passenger side interior. The front console with the air conditioning controls is bashed in. We need to fix that. And the entire thing needs an internal vacuuming, and that's what we're going to do. So let's get started. Okay, here's how we thread a needle. I've got my needle here. Hopefully, got my needle here. And I'm going to try to take this black thread and I'm going to put it through that hole. And it's not going to be easy. It takes practice. And it's definitely difficult to do where your eyes are not in the way of the camera. Nope, thought I had it. Takes practice. Sometimes you just get it by accident, like that. Now what I like to do is I'm going to take as much thread as I think I need. Back you up a little bit. I'm going to take as much thread as I think that I need and double it up and trim it, so I have two ends of thread on one side and my needle on the other side. Okay, so here's what my setup should look like right now. I've got a needle on one side and I've got two ends of thread on the other side. Now we're going to tie a knot on one end, and here's how I was taught how to do this. I've got my index finger here. I've got one bit of thread around my finger like that, and the other one's going to come up here, and I'm going to basically ring them together just like this, without any sort of rhyme or reason, just sort of kind of rubbing them together. And the idea is that when you do that, the end will tie itself together in some form of a knot. And it's not magic, it just kind of happens that way. Let's pretend that this is the car seat. I'm going to bring the needle up under the tear. And then to the other side, again under the tear. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat the following over and over again until I get finished. I'm going to go in. My hands are in the way. I'm going to go in. Nope. I'm going to come in on the left side where my previous stitch is and come out on the left side a little ways up. Then I'm going to come to the right side, in where my previous stitch was, and out a little bit higher than that. Back to the left, in and out, and the right, in and out. It does take practice, and I will say I'm not the greatest at it, but this is how I was taught, and this is how I built a complete Kermit the Frog puppet, basically using just this technique over and over again. And back in where the previous stitch was, and out again a little bit above that, and in on the left side where the previous stitch was, and back out again. The higher resolution that your stitch is, meaning the shorter the distance between your stitches, the more unnoticeable this is going to look like. Oop. I'm now doing this through the viewfinder. In and out. And then to the left side. In, out, in, and out. And to the right side, where my previous stitch was, in, and out. And where the previous stitch was, in, and out. And to the right side, where the previous stitch was, in, and out. And then where the previous stitch was, in, and out. And where the previous stitch was, in, or at least close enough. And at a certain point you're going to run out of thread. At which point we're going to cut this. And you can sometimes use super glue or some kind of fixative on the backside if you can reach the backside. The other thing we're going to have to do on the car is we're going to have to tie a knot, but hopefully we will get enough thread to go all the way up the tear. Otherwise we just start again from here and make sure we include this last stitch in our new set, and it should be right as rain. Now this is a pretty rough looking stitch, but doing it on camera is a little rough sometimes. But that's functionally how this is going to work when we go over to the car. Ideally, okay, here is our tear, as you can see, and I'm going to attempt, in a way that you can see it, to stitch this back together. It's very awkward in here. I don't have a lot of room. Here we go. Alright, after that last cut you saw, I actually undid the entire thing and redid it one more time. So that's going to be the final one. You can no longer see the chair backing behind the chair under the fabric. So I'm going to call that a success for right now. Obviously you can see it, but that's probably because the thread color is a little bit different than the seat color. And that's just going to have to be okay for right now. I'm quite happy with it. So we're going to move on. Alright, here, friends, here we are looking the other direction now at the console. As you can see here, the console is totally smushed in. I was transporting some wood from the store to the school, and I pushed it a little too far, a little bit too aggressively, and punched the heat controls, the HVAC controls, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning controls into the console, which I now have to try to figure out how to fix. So that's what you're going to watch now. All right. Part 2 finished. Got some little pigeon friends here in the neighborhood. All right, friends, as you can see, I have rolled up my sleeves because now it's time to get serious. These are the floor mats from where my feet go in the car. They're made of rubber and carpet. This is what I'm talking about, right? You can see all of the dust and bits, dust bunnies, a lot of sawdust from school, right? From my job at school, working with wood, building cabinets and things like that. So we got to get rid of this. How are we going to do that? Let's think. You know, one of the main things that comes to mind as we do this work here together is that the car is dirtier than I thought. The inside, there's crumbs, there's dust, there's bits and pieces. And that's my mess. That's something that I did. It's my responsibility to clean it up. It's kind of the way I feel about it. And so it's important to remember, friends, as we're here together, that when we make a mess, we should clean it up. That's what we're going to do. As you can see there, my repair seems to be holding up fairly nicely. Again, you can still see it, but I'm still quite happy with it. I'm going to attempt a new technique that I've not used before. And it has to do with how I'm going to scour the different parts of the car, because we have to be able to get that dust and sawdust and stuff out of the interstices, the space in between the carpet fibers. I'm going to use this. This is a fairly hard bristled brush that has on the back of it a hex shank that I can chuck into my drill so that I now have access to a spinny brush for anything that I might need a spinny brush for. I've also got some carpet cleaner that I'm going to try. So let's see what we can do. Get you a close up on this guy. Try to set this up so you can see, so it's in the sun. Check this out. Look at all that grit flying off of there. Goodness gracious. We have a major rip here that we need to reseat. And to do that, it's very dusty in here. And to do that, we're going to need to use a special kind of glue. And to figure out what kind of glue, we're going to use a website. The website is called This to That. It is an awesome website when you need to glue something. You type in the two materials or select the two materials that you want to glue together, in this case, fabric and plastic, and it will tell you what kind of glue you need to use. And for this build, for this job, it says we need 3M Super 77 spray. So let's get that. All right, I believe I've done as much with the brush as I can, so we will of course put it in the brushes drawer. Or not. We'll put it near the brushes drawer. I have received the Super 77 spray adhesive. Let's make sure we read the directions. Surface to be spraying. Make bond while adhesive is aggressively tacky. Okay, I guess we wait. Let us attempt to do this together. obviously. Still too wet. You can see it there on my finger. We'll wait. Okay, let us test again for tack. Not quite. Okay. Let us attempt to do this in a way that makes sense. I realize that I got some of the adhesive on the outside, and I realize that. Oh yeah. Okay, so we've done that part. Now, our job. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. That part's together. Well, maybe not a popsicle stick, but a nail. And I'm going to attempt to kind of shove this up in there. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. I'll get a better look. Okay. Let's first just kind of fold that down. Okay, yep. Why is this so far out? What pulled this out is the question. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Using my nail to kind of shove this back into place, using my other finger to make sure it's kind of pinned. I'm really trying to avoid taking the whole door apart. Here's a very tiny flathead screwdriver made for probably fixing glasses, eyeglasses. Oh yeah. Now we're talking. Now we're cooking with gas. I don't really need to force it. I don't need to sit here and I don't really need that white to be showing though, if we can avoid it. It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. Beautiful day for a neighbor. Won't you be mine? A little bunchy. Let's get that up in there. Oh yeah. Okay. I'll tell you what, that looks pretty good. But for right now, for today, we have, as you can see there's some scuffing from some white painted objects. But I'm quite happy with the floors. I'm quite happy with the carpets over there. And this part at least is glued together, and this part looks okay. I know this part looks rough, but this may be time for another day. It's time to relax for right now. Well, friends, I think that's going to end our time here today. Shorter video, I know. We're going to try a different format. And in doing so, you should be able to leave a comment below. Tell us what you're feeling. Tell us what you're thinking. Tell us what's going on in your life. Tell us what you're passionate about. Share with us what you love. Just like I'm doing here. I wanted to thank you for making a choice to spend your time here with me today. And I want to remind you, as usual, to live the curious life. And I'll see you next time.